feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win.
Well, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Seattle version of Shrimp Tank. You can always catch replays of the entire podcast at seattle.shrimptankpodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an upcoming show, and particularly get some phenomenal nuggets of entrepreneurial wisdom from our guest today, Jim Tschimperle. So, Jim, one of the things that I found really intriguing about our conversation today was this concept of succession planning. And one of the areas that we talked about during the podcast was this concept of how important maintaining employee loyalty is during a succession plan. Could you comment a little bit about that?
Sure. I think for people who are in this situation I am in, that your business becomes like a child, and you want to be very careful about who you hand that child off to, as maybe a son or a daughter who is getting married. And so you don't get those choices, but when you're in my position, you get to make the choice about who you're going to hand this business off to. And so those employees are very, very important. They are like your own children, and they are the basis of the whole business, and they are the people that your customers interact with on a daily basis.
Jim, one of the most intriguing things that you talked about during the podcast, so make sure you tune into it, was the whole issue about balancing life and work, especially as an entrepreneur. I know many of you out there watching struggle with that. What are your secrets? What are your best practices at making sure that life and work are balanced?
I think for me, in the beginning, there was a lot of work and a lot of energy being put into a business. And in my particular business, that was a requirement for success. And when I first started this business, I was not married, which gave me a lot of free time to spend working on it. And then as time went on, I married a woman who came from a family, had their own business, and she had two businesses before I met her. So we learned to balance that out by concentrating on our family, on our free time, and compartmentalizing our work and living it at work, and then coming home and really utilizing the other people in our family, our grandchildren, and having a good time and enjoying what those people bring to our lives.
Can I ask a quick follow-up, Brad?
You can.
You know, passion and love of the business, though, that's part of, that transcends into your life too, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And, I would tell people that your life becomes your business, or your business becomes your life. And it depends on how you want to manage those things. I think it's really important to always be able to take time for yourself. Someplace there's a quiet place to go to. Some people call it their nature place. Maybe it's a mountain, maybe it's a lake, but do that.
I think that's incredibly sage advice, Jim, and thanks for sharing with that. I know another thing that we talked about during the podcast that I found just absolutely intriguing, because I do know a little bit about Pacific Machine, and that is your customer service. Could you comment a little bit about customer service and how important that is to all business owners and entrepreneurs?
The customer is the only reason you're really there. And so for us, and what we've tried to establish is our customer comes first. Everything we do is about the customer. We're there for that customer. And when somebody walks through our door, it doesn't make any difference who they are or who they represent. They're always greeted with a smile and, hey, how can we help you? And I think that's absolutely important, to tell your customer your truth at all times, even though it may be an ugly fact that things aren't going to get done when you hope they would be done. But you let them know that ahead of time, and you always take care of them.
Well, that's excellent. We want to thank everybody for joining us today for the Seattle version of the Shrimp Tank. As always, you can catch all of the replays of our podcast, and make sure you tune in to our podcast that we just had with Jim at seattle.shrimptankpodcast.com. And of course, we also want to make sure that you check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Again, we want to thank you, Jim, for joining us today. And if individuals have an opportunity to want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
We do have a website. It's Pacific Machine, Inc., and you can dial that up and get onto our website. We really do have a phone number. It's 253-383-3838, or you can email me at jim@pacmac inc.com. Always willing to answer questions and talk to anybody who would like to talk.
See, he talked to us too. We called him up. We said, "Would you talk to us?" And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, that's excellent. So again, Jim, I want to thank you for your time today, as well as Dan. Thank you very much for being a fantastic co-host. It's always very insightful. We want to thank you for joining us today as well. And as always, remember to catch our podcast at seattle.shrimptankpodcast.com. Subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an upcoming episode, and we'll make sure that we catch you next time.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank.